all of the amazing hype going on with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, not even having this movie come out yet, and we already have 2 sequels, as well as everything else Sony and Marvel are going to be producing with Spider-Man names, is the market going to be oversaturated?
No, because you got my boy Venom, he's the greatest thing ever. Marvel, you're down. You're done. Venom, money. There we go. See, that's perfect. That's a perfect intro.
Oh, man.
Venom money. No, really.
Money.
Venom made a lot of money and we enjoyed it, so there we go.
It's... the market currently right now is in a really interesting state. We have Venom that I've already done videos about outselling Wonder Woman, which was something, honestly, we didn't think would happen. And now we actually have reports of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse not only getting 2 sequels, a direct sequel and a spin-off sequel. We obviously know Marvel is doing Far From Home, and
we know Spider-Man's going to be in Avengers 4. We know there's another Spider-Man movie to finish off the Homecoming trilogy.
And we know Venom, there's going to be more Venom stuff because they sat there and they already have been like, hey, we're going to have some carnage.
We know well, he was chewing. We know Morbius is happening. We know they want to introduce Spider-Man to that Spider or the Venomverse. So Spider-Man right now is getting more time on screen than ever before. I mean, just to kind of break it down even further, Marvel series currently going on. It's going to have a 3rd season. Toys are at an all-time high. Marvel Spider-Man on PS4 is making the PlayStation brand bigger than ever, which is kind of hard to imagine. Like, we've hit Spider-Man, like, if you're a fan right now, it's, you know, there's not a shortage of it.
And I sat there and I read an article that kind of really brought things into perspective. Just movies alone with just the name of Spider-Man. We've had 7 in 16 years. 7. The 3 Sam Raimi ones. We had the 2 Amazing Spider-Mans. We've had Spider-Man Homecoming. And now we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Those are just the names of Spider-Man. Not even just his characters. So with his characters of Venom now being successful and getting ready to have its own franchise without even needing the Spider-Man name, we are definitely in a time that if you would have sat there and after Amazing Spider-Man 2, you would not have thought that we would be where we are today with all this Spider-Man
That brand was pretty much dead 4 years ago, which is kind of insane, you know, because they came out with the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and after that, they're like, we're making 2, here's a date for 3 and 4, and Aunt May, and cooking shows, and, like, you know, product placement with Uncle Ben's, like, wardrobe. Like, what were they doing, right? So it's like, it was a bunch of garbage that they were throwing out there. And they took a step back, and now they're taking another step forward. But despite what people think, I don't think we're going to hit oversaturation or too much, because you have to follow me along here. Into the Spider-Verse is following Miles. There's going to be an all-female one that's not going to base itself on Spider-Man. Spider-Man is going to remain Spider-Man in the MCU ones, but none of the other ones are banking on the Spider-Man. They're all doing their own thing. So I don't think you really need it, and I think people are just looking for another reason to be like, is there too much Spider-Man? Which there isn't. Spider-Man has been a constant, just like Batman and Superman have for 50 plus years. You can't get too much of them because there's always a new generation to grow up with it, you know?
Yeah, and it's not even the fact that we're getting new generations to grow up with it. Each adaptation we have had is actually very different from the other ones. Take Sam Raimi's to The Amazing Spider-Man. Completely different origin stories almost because of the fact that in The Amazing Spider-Man, his dad genetically engineered his son
before they deleted those scenes. Then they're like, hey, these Amazing Spider-Man movies need to be more like the Raimi ones. Let's just scrap all this and we'll Amazing Spider-Man 2, folks. Yeah. And then of course we have Homecoming, who in some people's mind is the best adaptation of Spider-Man as well as Parker since the Sam Raimi ones, because everybody loved Tobey Maguire as Parker more than him as Spider-Man. So, and now we're going to finally have Miles' story and have this almost the Sam Raimi's come
back a little bit because all of the scenes that we've seen, at least from the trailers, is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Right, like the old
portrayal.
Parker seems to be like they're inspired by the Sam Raimi stuff, which is like, I'm okay with it because, let's be real, love it or not, I talked about it multiple times, the Sam Raimi movies to me are so important, specifically Spider-Man 2. It's like one of the most important movies in my life, but it's not the best Spider-Man portrayal, but they're nostalgic to me, and a lot of people are feeling that nostalgia now. Like, in a handful of years, less than 5 years, Spider-Man 2 is going to be 20 years old. 20 years old.
That is. Just feel old.
I know, that's like nostalgia galore. So it's like, you got all this stuff going forward. At this point, just go back to it and do it. And the Spider-Verse movies, I think, are a great example of how you're going to spin out. And I'm really not going to be shocked if, in 2.5 years, we're looking into the Spider-Verse 2. Once that movie's out and it's another huge success, we're like, well, I guess I'll take that Noir and 2099 spin-off animated film. I'll take it, because they're such different characters. Miguel O'Hara himself, specifically 2099, he's not Peter Parker. He's Hispanic and from the future. He's completely different, and he lives in an age where heroes have more or less become myth. That's an awesome concept to deal with in time travel, so I don't think Spider-Man going away, it's just clickbait. That's what people are looking for it,
And the great thing is, though, I talked about this a little bit in the other films, talking about how successful, without this movie even coming out, Into the Spider-Verse is. The fact that this is animated. If this movie wasn't animated, I feel we would be getting a very different feel of everything. The fact that right now, and I'm going to discuss this in another video, that this animated one has been so far named the best animated movie of the year by the New York Critics Circle.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about, especially because we had all of the hype of The Incredibles 2, and we had Ralph Breaks the Internet, which both of those are like such talked about sequels of franchises.
It's just telling you, Amazing Spider-Man 2 did damage, but it wasn't,
enough to kill it.
To kill a brand, and people are looking at this as a new, this is great. Honestly, it's safe. And it's going to be a long time coming before we get a Spider-Man drought, which, just by looking at it, we're going to get a trilogy of games, we're going to get a Venom trilogy, we're going to get the Morbius, whatever that ends up being, and whatever else they do. Kraven's Last Hunt has an origin story, because that makes sense. I guess we'll take it all and we'll see what falls into place.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Being a huge Spider-Man fan myself, one of the first comics I ever read as a child. I even have a tattoo of it. It's just, this is a great time to be a fan of Spider-Man. Not even just the name, the franchise as a whole of Spider-Man. If you're a girl, you're going to have all these amazing female characters. If you are one of those people like me who loves the knockoff, not knockoffs, so the one-offs, like the noir and that.
I love the knockoffs. Where's the Spider ME3NE?
Yeah, so this is definitely a great time to be a Spider-Man fan. I'm hoping that in the future we're going to be potentially getting my favorite series of all is the 1602 universe.
You know what? I could see that. I could see him making an appearance in the sequel. And specifically, imagine this: 2 years, here comes the sequel coming around Thanksgiving, and here's your Pilgrim Spider-Man. How perfect would that be?
Yes, that would be absolutely amazing.
We'll make another video down the road after we see Spider-Verse, talking about which new characters and what could they introduce after in the sequels.